All right, everybody. Well, hey, welcome to the first kickoff meeting of the U.S. Real Estate Investors Network meetup group here for 2022. Honored to have each and every one of you join us here tonight. If you're watching us live, hey, glad to have you. If you're watching us on the replay, whether it's Zoom, YouTube, or wherever, feel free to make comments in the chat room. We'll gladly answer those questions as they are moderated, they are reviewed, and responded to usually pretty quickly. But anyway, guys, hopefully you all had a wonderful and great Thanksgiving holiday, New Year's Eve, amazing Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrated. Hey, we're glad to have you join us here on Monday night. And we've got people joining us from all across the country and all across the world. And just like I said, honored you're taking the time on a Wednesday night. Let's get through the hump day with some good stuff for you tonight. But anyway, guys, if this is your first time to the US REI Network, we're glad to have you. Make sure you check out the website, usreinetwork.com. If you forget to register or don't see an email, you can always go to that website and register. Once you register for one of the meetings on Wednesday nights, you should be able to automatically select to register for all of them, so you'll be alerted. Also, if you miss a session, miss a Wednesday night, you can always go to the website, watch the replays there, or also go to my main YouTube channel at weekclosenotes.com to watch the replay there. Like I said, we record everything for you so that you've got opportunities to watch, learn, listen, and then also take action as well. But once again, guys and gals, thank you again so much for being here. We're glad to have you. We know you could be in a variety of different places, and like I said, it's just I'm very grateful that you're here, spend time with us. But our focus and philosophy here at the US REI Network is to basically provide a space for investors to find and promote deals, raise capital, and grow as investors, no matter what your experience, whether you're brand new or you're a seasoned pro like many people out there. I'm a big believer there are plenty of deals to go around, and tonight's topic is really focused on kind of that getting started aspect. If you're a brand new investor, hey, we're glad to have you. I know it can be confusing, but tonight's topic is all about really helping you guys take that next step and get the ball rolling. But one big rule we do have here is to treat everyone with respect. There will be no negative comments or derogatory comments mentioned on here. If you don't like what somebody says, hey, that's great. You use the golden rule. Treat others as you would want to be treated, and we live by that. So also, we want to make sure that whether you're investing in Florida to Orange County, California, everyone between, if you need resources, feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to reach out to the website. And usually each week we'll feature a different vendor and subject matter expert in a variety of things. We don't have one tonight, but we do have obviously a topic tonight for many people. And as we get rocking and rolling throughout the year, we do plan on having roughly somewhere around 35 of these meetings through 2022. We started last year, roughly about the middle of the year. We got about 14, 15 of them that were up. We had some of the great names like Chris Prefontaine, Sharon Restrepo, Merrill Chandler, Aaron Young, or Brent Biscay, because Aaron wasn't able to make it. But a variety of people, Bill Burnett as well. But we need your help. We want to grow this. It's a free resource for you and your friends and family and fellow investors out there. Feel free to invite others. Feel free to share. If you're watching this live, feel free to share this. If you've got a have and want that you're looking for, feel free to mention in the chat, well, hey, Scott, I got a need, or I've got something available. We'll be gladly to bring you on there. But most importantly, you're here to network with others. So if you've got a deal, make sure you've got a deal, or if you got a service, make sure they're your own deals, that you own it or have it under contract, and then share it in the different groups that we have here. Also, feel free to share your LinkedIn profile URL so others can connect with you as well. You can always go to usreinetwork.com, the website, or you can check out the other 3 groups we have available, depending on what social media channel you like to call home. Whether it's Facebook, Meetup, or LinkedIn, there's a group available for you, and you can join all those by going to the website and clicking on the links there for you. But anyway, if you have a deal to sell or flip, money to provide, feel free to share them. Like I said, you must own it or have it under contract to be a member of that company. If you're looking for a deal, vendor, or funding, hey, if you've got a deal, hey, I need a rehab crew, or I need a private lender, a hard money lender, I need a title company, or I need a BPO company, hey, we've got a lot there for. Be specific, share your deal specifics ahead of time too, if you can, because we do these every week, and they aren't just here for those that are live on Wednesday night. We've got a large email network that we send us out to, large social media following as well too, so they get a lot of views. So as always, type in your contact information in the Zoom chat. Make sure if you're going to share it, to share that setting with everyone, not just the panelists and the host, but with everyone. So everybody that's on the call can watch. Like I said, feel free to share your deals to flow also across the groups. Here's the golden rule and go rock and roll. So, as in want, I'll start this off tonight. I've got a deal that we're getting ready to close on in Georgia, and I am looking for a. I've got a company I've reached out to already there for it, but I'm also looking for a new foreclosure attorney in Georgia. If you've got one or know one there in Georgia, please feel free to reach out to me. We're funding this deal in a self-directed IRA, so we're getting around the licensing requirement to buy in a note out there that has to be through a mortgage broker. So we're pretty excited about that. But it's in Warner Robins, Georgia. We've also a couple other deals in Georgia. A couple of REOs have popped up across our plate as well in the Georgia market, Florida, and Texas markets. If you're looking for REOs, reach out to me. If you're looking for notes, reach out to me. We've got some opportunities as well for you. So want to open for those that are online here. I am paying attention to the YouTube live stream. So if you're watching there online, hey, glad to have you as well there. Give us a little shout out of where you're at and where you call home. I know we've got people all over the place watching this. So give you guys, if you got a second and have something you want to share, feel free to type in the chat roll. Glad to bring you online live, and we'll go from there. Otherwise, we'll move on and get to the main subject matter tonight so that you guys are in and out of here before too long and get back to enjoying your Wednesday evening. It's good to see Cynthia on there, Dickie, Linda, Salome, Stephanie. Good to see Jeremiah on there as well. A few other folks out there, Boyd. Glad to see you guys are joining us here. So you got some first timers and then also folks have been around for a little while. What was really exciting is with our final webinar we did roughly about 3 weeks ago with the US REI Network in 2021, we have had over 400 registrants join us on here. So I was shooting for 200. We doubled that number in 2021. So hopefully we can exceed that number. I think if we do this full year round on a regular basis, we can have upwards of over 1,000 different people registered to join us here. And I really like that number. But anyway, nobody's commenting here. Nobody's saying, hey, I got something I need some help with. That's fine. Feel free to keep that in mind. It's always open here. You can always reach out to me as well, ladies and gentlemen, by going to talkwithscottcarson.com. That's talkwithscottcarson.com. That'll take you directly into my Calendly link, and you can schedule a quick 30-minute phone call to discuss a deal or needs and wants that you have and what you're looking for. And we're here to help. My network is your network is the way I look at it. So anyway, let's move on here. If there's no other questions, let's dive into the topic because so many folks get started and New Year's brings along, obviously, New Year's resolutions, right? I want to do this. I want to get fit. I mean, if you go to the gym tonight, I'm sure it was crowded. All right. I want to save more for retirement. So people are looking at their investment accounts and stuff like that. Or I want to do more. I want to travel more. So I'm going to book my vacation, or I'm going to save more of my retirement account. So they're going to set up auto draft stuff. A lot of people want to do things, but they don't know where to begin. And I have gotten this question like, Scott, I'm a brand new investor. I'd like to get started in real estate investing. What do I need? What do I do? Where do I begin? How do I get started? Because it can be overwhelming. And no, the number one thing is not to watch HGTV. Okay, it's not to watch Flip This House or the Property Brothers or Property Ladder or List or Sell. Whatever it might be. Those are all fictional TV shows on HGTV and that stuff. Those things really don't count. If you go up to somebody and say, "Oh, I know real estate because I watch HGTV," you will be laughed out of the office. Okay, my friend Nicola Spinoza posted something like that. Somebody walked in and said that, "Oh, I know real estate because I watch HGTV." She said, "Okay, I'm firing you as a client. I will not do any work for you because you don't know anything." So what I did is I went back to this and conferred with a couple people on the list and just kind of talked about if I was starting brand new and I was a little brain dead on my experience, but I had an idea where to begin and had to start all over again. These are the things that I would start all over again. When I'm looking at a new market or potentially a new thing, here's what I would recommend when I'm talking. I've actually talked with my neighbor about this because he was the same way. He's like, I want to get started in real estate investing, but I don't know where to begin. I don't have a lot of money. Where do I begin? And that's what this is all about. So without further ado, what do you say we get rocking and rolling on our top 10 list of top 10 checklist when becoming a real estate investor in 2022. Drum roll, please. All right, everybody. So this list will be up on my slide share for you later on. And if you're watching the replay, I'll make sure and put the link to the slide share in the comments as well for you if you want to download this and keep it for yourself. But anyway, really, what you're doing right now is the first thing you have to do. You got to surround yourself with like-minded people. And that number one is join your local real estate investment club. Okay. Now you've heard of REI clubs or real estate group. There's some big ones like the National RIA, which is a national network of real estate clubs. In just about every major city, you have some sort of meetup group or real estate club that shows up. And the idea here is you want to surround yourself. If you're going to work and doing something outside of real estate investing, and you're not around the water cooler people that have the same goals, you want to find people that have the same goals for you. Okay. And I always say, like, yeah, you're the average of the 5 people that you hang around the most with. Okay. If you hang around smokers, you're going to be a smoker. If you hang around drinkers, you'll be around drinking. If you hang around gamblers, you're going to be a gambler. If you want to hang around investors, if you want to become an investor, you got to hang around with the people you want to be. You're also, and that's one of the most important things I can tell you is, especially if you, in such a negative society, if you're going to work and dealing with things, and God knows that work is not always the best environment. Okay. Not the best environment. You should surround yourself with like-minded people. So going once a month or once a week, most of your real estate investment associations, they'll meet one night a month. Maybe it's the first Tuesday, or usually meet on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, one night a week or one night a month. And then they may schedule something for 1 week in a month. Maybe it's a 1-day class or 2-day class. They may bring in a speaker, very similar to kind of how we're structured here at the US REI network. The idea is if you're in a major city, you probably could go to some sort of meeting at least once a week. And it may be in person, or depending on where you're at and how crazy Omicron or COVID is, it may be online or in person. So there also will find too that a lot of the REIA clubs are very broad topics. They're not solely focused on one specific thing. And so you have to look at the different real estate clubs, and you can jump on meetup.com and take a look at a variety of, just type in real estate and look for groups in your area, 5, 10, 20 miles away, where you can also go to reiclub.com and take a look. You're going to either have very broad topics or general real estate, and then also you may often find like niche topics, like the wholesaling network or an apartment. Like my buddy Abel Pacheco runs a Wednesday meetup group that's focused just on multifamily apartment investing. Like I focus on Monday night as Note Night in America. Okay. So I'll tell you, you can go for free. Usually most of these groups will be the paid groups will let you come for once as a guest. There are free groups out there that never charge, but what you're going to find is if you've got to pay something, you're going to get a better investment on something you're paying versus the free. Free has no value. If you're paying something, whether it's $20 a meeting or $150 or $200 a year, I often like the paid. Now, of course, if it's just an online event, you might as well just be free. But if you're going in person, paid is always going to be better. You're going to have much more serious investors that show up to that are invested in. Now, the golden rules, if you're just going to a REIA club once a month, it's going to really take you about 6 months to gain traction. 6 months of showing up and being in a common phase, getting to know the people around them, building some rapport, trust, stuff like that. It's going to take a little while. Now, if you're in an area like Dallas or LA or San Diego or Miami, where you got a ton of REIA clubs, you will probably run into some similar faces at different groups. So expecting that a minimum, you're going to have to gain some traction by showing up at least 6 times. Now, we've talked about this before, talked about this week with a group of people. January and February always have the largest attendance when it comes to REIA clubs, because it's many people coming out of the woodwork who've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or got tired of watching reruns and want to get out and actually do something. So it's a good time to get out and network with people, not only online, but do it in person. In person as much as you can. You trust me, it's like going to the gym. You may like, oh, I want to go, but once you go and leave, you'll always feel revived and much full of energy leaving there for. But like I said, there's 3 places that we'll go to: meetup.com, nationalria.com, or reiclub.com, or even bni.com for local entrepreneurs, more lunch or breakfast meetings. So that's the first thing. Grow your tribe, surround yourself with like-minded people. That's the first thing. Start asking people what their experience is in your neck of the woods. If you're going to be investing locally, you want to connect with people that are locally for you. That's number 1 on the list. Now, number 2 on the list is, once you start going, or really it's kind of about the same time, you have to kind of get educated. Number 2, okay? Now, it's never been easier than before to learn about a new niche or a new topic of real estate. I don't care where you're at. If you've got eyes and ears, or ears, if you're, as long as you can see or hear, there's such a wealth of information out there too that you can listen to podcasts and different webinars that take place on the different topics. There's different newsletters that people put out there. There are books on a whole variety of different subjects that you can download on Kindle, or go to the half price books, or go to, go down to Barnes and Nobles. There's so much information out there that it's just a wealth of information on specific topics. You can always go to YouTube. There's so many YouTube videos on a variety of topics. I mean, we get people all the time that say, hey, Scott, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. Now I'm ready to learn something. Okay. It's so easy for you to start learning on how to do that. I mean, people are like, well, I learned how to cook French by going to YouTube or whatever it might be. Education is great, but you've got to pull the trigger at some point and probably sign up for a class workshop. You can go through the free university of online wealth and knowledge, which is great, but at some point you need to, increase your learning curve dramatically versus trying to piece it together. So at some point you're going to have to, bite the bullet and sign up for something, whether it's a one-day class or a workshop or a conference is worth going to. And if you're going to be focused on some specific types of niches, or you're still trying to figure out what you want to focus on, hey, check out the different conferences that take place. We've spoken at the REI Expo, which then became Think Realty Network. I've spoken at National Association of Realtors conferences. There's Noteworthy Convention. There's Paper Source. I've spoken at some marketing conferences. IMN is a great conference to go to once in a while. Look to attend conferences that are in that niche that you're thinking about, or a couple of niches that you're thinking about. And then also look at the marketing side of things, because marketing is so important these days on how to, reach a bigger audience, raise more capital, find more deals. It all starts with marketing. So that's one of the most important things to do. But here's the thing. Before you pull the trigger and sign up for a workshop or a conference, find out who's doing some actual deals. Last thing you want to do is take a workshop from somebody who's not bought a note in 5 years, or fixed and flipped a property. There was a guy that was very well known, I won't say his name, but he bought $1 million property, he flipped it, and then he started teaching workshops on how to flip $1 million properties. And I'm like, well, you got to do more than one. Yeah, you made 6 figures in that one deal, but you got to have more experience than just one deal. So find out who's actually doing deals today in today's market and the market that you're at. I think we've all seen these traveling road shows where people coming in from on the online TV. Oh, you can flip houses in Austin, Texas. You can do this in Dallas, when we all know, depending on what the topic is, there's a lot of other markets that are pretty competitive. Like Austin, you can't find a ton of deals to fix and flip. You've got to go outside a lot of times. So find out who's actually doing deals in your market. That's part of the reason you want to talk with your local real estate club and join the number one, so you can talk to the president and find out, go up to the president or the vice president and say, hey, who's actually doing this type of deal or that, or I'm interested in these things. Who should I talk to? Be a great way to point. Okay. Now, number 3 on our list of top 10 checklists here is pretty simple. Once you've gone out and started to network with people and started to get educated on a variety of different things, you got to find your niche. You can't be a jack of all trades, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none. And I've seen this happen for now going on, probably 17, 18 years. People that get excited to get in real estate and they sign up for all these different classes and workshops and a variety of different things because they're like, oh, I'm going to put it in my tool belt. Well, that tool belt just basically, they just keep sticking in workshops, but they never pull the trigger to make things happen. And you're going to be much happier if you focus on one or maybe 2 niches at the most. If they work very well with each other, like rentals or short-term rentals, like Airbnb, and if I'm going to do some rentals, that would go well together. Or if I'm doing private lending and I'm buying notes, that goes well together, okay? What you don't want to do is try to do everything, because then what's going to happen, you're going to fail. Every niche, every focus has its different type of marketing, different things you need to be doing to be successful. And if you're running around trying to do it all, you're not going to be successful. So think of this. You've heard of the Pareto principle, where 80% of profits really comes from 20% of the activities that you do on a day in and day out basis. Well, that means you're technically wasting 80% of your time doing non-profit generating topics, okay? Or you're wasting with other things. So if you were to take that focus, take that 80% of wasted time and put it all towards one thing, you would have 400% growth or profits out of it. So keep that in mind. Focus on one thing. And if you master one niche, you'll make more money, you'll save more time, you'll also have more energy, because you're not running around trying to make things happen. And that's one of the biggest mistakes I see new investors make, is they try to be an expert in everything and they end up being an idiot at all of them. Okay. And I only say this is when I started off as an investor, I tried to be a wholesaler and a fix and flipper and, you know, things. And I was okay at some of them, but I wasn't master any of them until I really focused on one specific thing. And like I still to this day, focus primarily on notes. I do a couple little things I dabble in, but most of my energy and attention is focused on the note side. And here's another hardest thing. You have to give that niche 6 months. You got to give yourself some time to get things rocking and rolling. If things don't happen in 30 days, don't give up and move on to something else, because you'll constantly be doing that. And you'll wonder why this didn't work and this doesn't work and this didn't work. Well, you didn't give that one thing time for your seeds to sprout, or time for the knowledge to germinate results, whether it's in your head or in your marketing. You got to give yourself 6 months of knocking things out. And if you're working full time, hey, it may take a little bit longer than if you're doing stuff that's full time. If you're doing it, investing part time, hey, be kind on yourself. Be glad that you've got a job that's going to help you build a runway if your ultimate goal is to leave your job. Now, like I said, you also got to know what's working in your market in that niche. All right. I don't buy a lot of non-performing notes in Austin, Texas, because we don't see a lot of distressed debt. So I started doing notes, outside of Texas. I was big in Florida. I still love Florida, Ohio, Michigan. If somebody comes to me and says, I just want to buy notes in Austin, Texas, I'm going to be the first one. Like, listen, that niche is not going to work for you. You need to go to do something else or expand your market. Okay. Here's the thing too, guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to help you if you focus on something that you really truly have an interest in. Something that falls inside of whatever your focus is. Oh, I work too much. I don't want to work too hard. So I wouldn't recommend going out and fixing and flipping homes, because if fixing and flipping homes is full-time, can be a full-time job. Oh, I want to deal with toilet centers and trash outs. And that can be a full-time job. Look at your schedule. If you want to be semi-retired, I would look at stuff that's retired, maybe wholesale, maybe private lending. Not every niche is not for somebody. Okay. There are people I tell all the time, hey, you're not cut out to be in the note business, or hey, you're not cut out to be a private lender. Okay. But if you can find something that helps you with your interest, it aligns with what your focus and your long-term goals are and what your schedule allows for, hey, that's going to make it a lot easier for you in the long run. Okay. Now, number 4, it seems like a no-brainer, but I put it up here because I think it's very important, especially these days. You really need to look at preparing for the future. Okay. I don't know anybody like, I'm going to turn 65 and then I'm going to end my life. Some people talk that way and they sound pretty stupid when they do. The idea is you're going to be here for a long term. And if you want to be able to do things in the long run where you don't have to work till the day that you die, hey, you got to start saving, start putting a little bit away, whether it's $5 or $500 or something. One of the easiest ways to do that is to open up a self-directed IRA. And right now, if you're brand new, you can open up a self-directed IRA at your bank, Schwab, a self-directed IRA company like Equity Trust or Quest or Rocket Dollar. There's a variety of ways to do that. And you don't have to invest it right away. You can start putting that money away a little bit. You can start saving it and just turn it into another bill. If you look at the annual contribution limit right now for a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, it's $6,000 a year. That's $500 a month. That's 2022 contributions. That's $500 a month. That's roughly, that's less than what is that? If I divide, it's about $125 a week. Putting that away. That's literally $25 a workday, basically. Now that's a lot of coffee, but starting putting a little bit away, or tithing to yourself, is a big thing. Are you too old to open a self-directed IRA if you are 78 years old? Yes, Cynthia, unfortunately, you are too old. I mean, you put it in, but they're not going to get the tax benefits of it. You might as well just keep it in a savings account, because there's not really anything. The beautiful thing about a Roth IRA is that money grows in tax-free because you put it in with after-tax dollars. If you open a traditional IRA, that money's going to grow tax-deferred depending on when you pull it out. Okay. So there's also some income limits. We'll talk about that there. But besides the traditional and a Roth IRA, you have HSAs or health savings accounts, which they increase that number up by a whopping $50 more, from $3,600 to $3,650 per individual, or up to $7,300 as a family combined HSA. You can self-direct your HSA. You just have to have a qualified third-party health insurance company be around that as well. Employee 401ks contributions can be $20,500 this year. If you've got a solo 401k, that number is 61,000. If you've got a SEP IRA, that number is also up to 61,000. So if you're doing a lot of deals, that'd be $5,000 a month you'd be putting aside away towards your future. Now, the thing, like I said, just putting it away in your IRA doesn't mean you can't use it to invest with. Use it to, you may grow a little nest egg. So you got 5,000, 10,000. Maybe you invest on a small wholesale deal, or maybe you're a second lien on a property, helping up, or you're using it to flip properties. You need option fees. There's a whole variety of ways to make money with small IRA accounts. Just getting started and putting away. Don't look at it like, oh, that's my checking account I can use. No, realize that's an investment in your future, and big things have small beginnings. Okay. Now, as far as income limits going, to be able to qualify for a Roth IRA in 2022, where your investment is tax-free, basically your modified adjusted gross income, basically if you're single, has to be under 129,000. And then basically if you're married, filed jointly, basically under 204,000. Okay. So something to think about there for you if you're looking at your income limits. If you make more than that, hey, don't worry about it. You don't qualify for a Roth this year, but you can start with a traditional, making this stuff to start setting some stuff aside. I highly encourage you to talk to a self-directed IRA company, not just to your local banker at Chase or Wells Fargo. Take some time, pick up the phone, and talk to an investment professional about what you're trying to focus on, what you want to do, and how you can start putting a little bit away each day. Literally, you can deposit $50 a month, $50 a week. Something is better than nothing. Okay. Now that takes us to our next one, our next list number on our checklist here. You're gonna crack it, but number 5 is to help you once you've identified a market, identified a niche, got educated on it, started saving, figuring out what you want to do in your time. You got to identify and plan your marketing. What are you going to do to find deals? And a lot of people take classes, but they never get around to the second part of marketing. And that's what it all comes down to. If you take a class, that's great. But if you don't ever take any action to do anything, then you're really just wasted your time and money. Now, what do I mean by identifying and planning your marketing? Well, you got to figure out what type of marketing is needed to drive in deal flow to you. You got to look at the cost. Is it going to be a lot of direct mail costs? Do you have to pop 5,000 postcards out every week? Do you have to put up a billboard? Do you have to buy a list? Is that going to fit in your budget? If you struggle and don't have a very big marketing budget, hey, you've got to be careful about what you're spending time on. Is it going to be, like I said, a lot? Is it going to be a cost, an upfront cost, like a lot of postcards or yellow letters, or can you only, like, instead of you sending out a list of 1,000, I can only send out a list of 100 this week? That's fine. Look at it. Can it be done digitally? Can you market? Is there a way for you to email out or jump on social media and market on there? Or can you buy a list of different leads, like going to the foreclosure listing service, buy a list of foreclosures that you can market out to? Okay. Is it going to be something that you can do, go door knock when you get a list? Looking at your time, it's important. It's also important to understand how competitive, what the competition is like in your market. That's why you go to local RIAs, to see what people are focused on. If you see everybody and their dog's a wholesaler, you may not want to focus on wholesaling. You see everybody and their dog is a fix and flipper, you probably want to do something a little bit different on there. Okay. Look at the competition in your market and look at what their budgets are. Like my buddy Jason Bible out of Houston, he probably spends more on marketing because he's dropping close to $15,000 to $20,000 a month in direct mail and postcards out to his local market. He wants to dominate Houston. That's how he dominated it. Okay. You also got to kind of figure out what's the cost per lead. If I spend $5,000, am I going to make 15? If my average profit's 15,000 and it costs me 5,000 per lead, okay, I can do that. You got to look at what's it comes down to your per lead, per closed deal. What's the true cost going to be for you in market? And then of course, the time. If you're working full time and you've got a family or other things, you got to look at, do I have time to do this? Can I do this on the weekends or in the hours? Or is, like Gary Vaynerchuk like I said, the 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. time frame? Great. If not, then you might need to hire a company like Postcard Mania or Vistaprint to help you with your creation, your letters, and your direct mail stuff, if you can afford that. So you've got to look at it. And these are questions that only you can answer. Okay. And you have to be honest. Can I afford this or not? Can I not afford it? What can I do? There's no right or wrong answer, because it's you. It's your choices and what you want to focus. The whole point here, though, is you have to take action. Okay. Choosing not to take action is going to only guarantee one thing, and that's going to be failure. And I don't think you want to be a failure. If you take any type of action, you're going to learn as you go, get rock and rolling, and you will learn from your failures, and that's a valuable investment for you. Okay. You're going to look at the deal flow, how much is in the area, how much in just like defaulted mortgages, or how many foreclosures are we seeing? Is there a lot of out-of-state owners? That kind of stuff. You also have to look at too, hey, what you're going to be focused on. Are you going to need private money? Are you going to be self-funded? Are you going to need other people's money to help you out? And that's a whole different way of marketing and networking as well. Okay. And then one of the most important things, this has always been frustrating when I do see investors do marketing, they're sending out postcards or yell letters or great email piece or something like that. They start getting leads in, but then they don't follow up. When I used to travel on the Ron LeGrand circuit, I would see people week in, week out, or every other week at a different event. I was like, oh, hey, how did it go? How did your class go? Oh, great. Phone's ringing off the hook with leads in my market. Well, that's phenomenal. How are you going to close? Oh, I haven't had any time to call them all. And I'm like, what? I'm like, you are kidding me, Smalls. That's the hardest thing. If you did all the work to get somebody to call you or reach out to you, you got to spend that time and follow up with them, because 80% of sales are made after the 5th contact. If you get somebody who's struggling or distressed and for them to reach out to you, that's all the heavy lifting. You just got to jump on the phone and talk with them, or schedule with them, or get on a Zoom call or whatever. That's where all the money's made, is in that follow-up. And that's what separates really great investors from those that struggle, is in the follow-up. Okay. All right. Next one for you. Now that you've started to get your marketing plan in place, I know this may be a hated comment for many people out there, depending on how old you are, how young you are, how experienced you are. But you really got to spend number 6 here. You got to start using some social media. Now, I know that's a bad word or bad phrase for a lot of people. Like, oh, I don't want to be popping locking or TikTok. I don't want to twerk my butt on this stuff. I don't want to show cleavage, whatever it might be. And I agree. Don't. But you got to start using it, because it is the 21st century. We're 22 years into the 21st century. It's time that you start doing something. Now, you don't need to use every social media channel. I highly discourage you from trying to use them all, because that will scare you and confuse the heck out of you. But what you want to do is focus on a couple of where your audience is at. Where are your prospects hanging out? If you're trying to raise capital, prospects are probably not hanging out on Twitter. They're probably hanging out more on LinkedIn or some Facebook groups, or their LinkedIn or YouTube. There's a variety of different ways to attract prospects. Okay. But go where your prospects are hanging out. If your prospects are 35 to 65 years of age, college educated, it's definitely not going to be hanging out on Instagram for the most part. It'll be more of the LinkedIn, or spend time in the Facebook group. Okay. Figure out what platforms are they using. Like I said, LinkedIn is very professional. That's one of the hottest social media things here for real estate investors and professionals. That's where everybody should be hanging out at right now. I'm not spending time on all these other little weird platforms out there. I spend time on LinkedIn primarily, YouTube second, and actually Facebook is just a few minutes a day as we're posting it and targeting a group. But LinkedIn and YouTube should be 2 staples, because it's very easy to find prospects on LinkedIn, connect with potential deal flow, especially in the distressed debt space. But also, if you're a real estate investor, Facebook is good too, along with YouTube, getting the content out on what you're focused on. Now, post regularly. It's important. You can't just post once and go back to sleep and never post again. You got to post on an almost daily basis. We're not talking 20 big things or 20 books. You can post regularly and schedule it. Spend like an hour on Saturday or Sunday or at night, and literally use a service like Buffer.com or Hootsuite.com to help you post things on a regular basis. And that's a beautiful thing. And literally, social media these days is so much easier now, and much more affordable to build an audience, to build a tribe, to connect with people than it was ever done again. A $26 billion company like Starbucks has 9 people that manages their social media accounts. There may be a few more than that last number, but think about that. You've got all the same tools and resources that $26 billion company has. You'd be silly not to use those to help you benefit yourself. Don't keep going and buying their burnt coffee on Monday mornings and then just keep contributing to their dreams. It's time that you started contributing to your dreams to make some things happen. And social media is a great way to kind of get the ball rolling, connecting with like-minded people, and start connecting with others out there that can help you take your business to the next level. Okay. If you don't market, someone else is or is already will do it to you. So it might as well be you, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't market, somebody else will. Okay. And I'd rather see you finding success than somebody else. Okay. That takes us to the next number on our checklist. That number is 7. Is get an LLC. You're in real estate. You're going into business as a real estate investor. Treat it as a business. This is one mistake a lot of people make. They're like, oh, do I have to get an LLC? No, you don't have to get an LLC, but you might as well face all the issues and problems, because if you're in real estate at some point, you're going to be sued. People get upset about all sorts of things when it comes to real estate. And we live in such a litigious society these days. You want to make sure and protect your hard work, your assets. Okay. You don't want to see your assets in a sling. You want to keep them out of a sling. You want to start keeping your personal and business assets separate. So if somebody sues you personally, it's your business separate. Somebody sues you on one deal, you want to make sure that deal is separate from others out there. So you're in business, not a hobby. Time to treat it. Okay. Separate your things up into different LLCs, entities. Yes, people say, "Oh, can I use a trust? I want to use an S corp." Yeah, you can use a thing, but the easiest thing, and most real estate investors are using, is a LLC, a limited liability company. Now it's more than just going out and signing up at your Secretary of State and paying the $30 to $800 to start with. Okay. You need to start documenting your business activities. You need to go to tax ID number for your business. You need to issue actual stock, your certificates of ownership, which most people that have an LLC never done. Now, don't go to LegalZoom and just sign up for an LLC. You need to find a company that will help you out with it. Our company that we love working with is Laughlin Associates. They're great people out of Reno, Nevada. They help create LLCs for us. They also help us with the documentation stage. They help us fill out all the right documents to make sure that the LLC is an actual LLC. Okay, in case anything ever happens to you. So I highly encourage you to check them out. We've check out Brent Biscay or Aaron Young's interview on the playlist from the last year's replays of the episodes. It's well worth it. Check out corpveilprotection.com. And they've also got a really easy class. If you use secretsclass.com, it's a great class to help you learn about entities, asset protection, and kind of using entities to help you separate your personal stuff from your business stuff. It's really, really important. If you've got a rental property, a primary residence, you should have that rental property in an LLC, because if something happens on that rental property, you don't want them to come after and sue you and win, and then now they have access to your personal property. Keep your assets separated. It's a smart thing to do. I mean, I'll give you a bit of an example. Intel, we're all familiar with a company called Intel. They literally have like 45,000 different entities, an entity for that owns every little bit of secret code. Coca-Cola has a separate entity just for the recipe for Coca-Cola out there. Keep things different. Ski resorts. Each chair is a separate entity in case something happens in that one chair. It's unique. That doesn't affect the rest of them out there. So think smarter. You will never regret spending money on asset protection, because it's there to protect you. It's the insurance that you need. And that's getting an LLC is one of the greatest things that you can do for yourself. Okay. Now, the next one is something that people may shirk off of, but they really, really need it. And that's number 8, is go out and get you a coach. Okay. Now, we're not talking about going and spending $40,000, $50,000 for coaching. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking find somebody who can help you along the way. Maybe it's somebody local. Maybe you do need to pay for a little high-end one-on-one coaching. But coaches keep us from making mistakes, and those mistakes can often be costly, or those costs can be mitigated or reduced almost nothing if you've got a coach to help you avoid those mistakes. All right. When I was playing college football, or when I was going through school and talking to my advisor were the coach. I also had a mentor that helped me out with things along the way. Several mentors along this way that I reached out to for counsel, not just advice. I mean, advice is like an asshole. Everybody has one. Okay. You need to speak to a coach, somebody who's been there, somebody who's doing what you're doing. They're going to help you succeed and speed up your success timeline so much faster. They're also going to reduce the learning curve, so you quit stepping on landmines or holes that end up screwing up your business. Okay. Make sure, once again, to choose someone that's actually in the business, not just talking theory, but somebody who's in the day in, day out process of doing whatever it is you're wanting to do. That's one of the most critical factors out there, because a good coach, if you even do have to pay them, whether it's a monthly fee or an annual or a big thing, a good coach should help you making that money back exponentially. You're paying for their time and experience and the mistakes that they've made to help you avoid making those same mistakes. Also, too, if you've got a coach who's going to help you stand out from the competition from just somebody, flying by the seat of their pants. I say, listen, I've got coaches at what I'm doing. I got a coach who's done this for years, a part of my team. Here's somebody that I reach out to, and his experience. It's one of the things I tell our students when you've put together a pitch deck or you're talking to investors, don't just focus on you because you're by yourself. Focus on your team, focus on your coaches, people that have done a ton of stuff, whether it's your attorneys that's coaching you through it, your servicing company, whatever it might be. Your coaches can help you stand out from the competition and make amazing things happen. And here's the thing too, markets change. It's a different market now in 2022 than it was in 2008. It's a different market than it was 5 years ago. A good coach is going to show you how to pivot, tweak your message, and come up with an alternative plan or alternative marketing so that you're not doing the same thing over and over again and failing. They're going to say, like, quit doing that. Don't do that. This is why. Stop that and start doing this. Okay. Now, you're like, well, you can learn everything on lynda.com or LinkedIn or YouTube University. Yes, there's a lot of stuff out there. If you want to try to hunt and peck it together, fine. But you'll be a lot happier getting all the information in one spot in the right order with the right type of counseling, the right type of counsel to help you avoid making those mistakes and make an A on it versus going through the school of hard knocks. Most people that have gone through the school of hard knocks could have avoided most mistakes if they'd have hired a coach, and they would have saved a whole lot more money in the long run. God knows any money I spent on coaches has been valuable and helped save me a lot of time, a lot of money, help me make more money out there as well. All right. Now, number 9 is an important thing. We've talked about coaches. We've talked about opening an LLC. We've talked about starting a self-directed IRA, finding a network with your local real estate clubs, getting educated. But once you're ready to rock and roll and get things rock and roll, you can do it by yourself. But number 9 is one of the most important things is build your team. You don't have to do it all by yourself. Most of you shouldn't be doing it all by yourself. Now, your team, there's a lot of different people who need to be on your team, or on my team is what you should say. I'm a big believer that the number 1 person you should hire is an assistant, whether it's a virtual assistant, somebody overseas in the Philippines or Europe, or somebody in person. If you're working a full-time job and you don't have enough time and you can afford to, personal assistants are not that expensive, especially the ones in the Philippines. They do a really excellent job. Hire one. They'll get you to 6 figures faster versus you trying to do it all yourself. You need realtors as a real estate investor to help you pull values, help you sell your properties, tell you what's going on with the different markets. You need money partners, private investors, people to be a part of your team to help you. Hard money lenders if you're going the fix and flip route, or your bankers. Okay. You need title companies and escrows or companies to help you provide those O&E reports, those title reports, or help you with closings and different variety of things. Okay. In my line of work, we use real estate attorneys to foreclose. Big thing. You're going to need an attorney to help you with closings or doing creative, owner financing or subject to deals. Is an important thing for you to have out there. Contractors, vendors. This is one of the most important things because you need people to help you out. You don't want to be the person going out there laying tile, trying to fix sheetrock on yourself. What you will really quickly find is that you could make more money in your spare time flipping burgers at Dairy Queen versus trying to be a real estate investor if you're doing it all yourself. There are things that we can do. Yes, I get it. But you want a job done well and usually done faster, and your vendors can help you out with it. Vendors are also great resources for a variety of other things out there. Marketing, okay? Maybe you need help with a third-party marketer if you're not good with social media. Maybe you need somebody to help you step in to help you with the market. Maybe you got to find somebody to help you out with it. That you split the marketing costs on things. Variety of things to be on the team. One of the most important things I think you need to have is somebody that you can be accountable to, an accountability partner. It's up here in the industry, a lot of times when you've got a coach, that can be your accountability partner. If you're part of a local RIA club and you find somebody who's going through the same thing brand new, have a group. Groups can also be accountability partners. You got to realize your team is more than M and E. Yes, me is in team. There was never an I in team, but there is a me. As they say, if you want to go faster, go by yourself. If you want to go further, go with a team. Start putting those teams together, start talking. You may not need all these people at once, but it's good to start talking, start putting people on your team to help you out with that. And one of the most beautiful things about real estate is that most of the vendors are there to help you make money. They're there to get paid, They get paid by providing a service to help you do something good. So go out there, start putting a team together. One of the great places to go if you're trying to figure out who to reach out to in your area, go to Baldwin Advisory Group. Go to Dickie Baldwin's BaldwinAdvisoryGroup.com. Go to his website. There's got all sorts of places on there for you to find the vendors and teams to help you out on that side of the business and go from there. Okay. One-stop shop for all your real estate needs. Okay. He's not paying me to say that. All right. Now, number 10 is not a James Bond thing, but after you've done 1 through 9, you know what you got to do, ladies and gentlemen? You got to pull the trigger. You literally got to pull the trigger. If you've gone out and started marketing, you started following up, at some point, you got to step out on that ledge and take action. Ready, aim, fire. Well, the ready, aim works so long, but sometimes it's better to fire, ready, aim in some cases. Having a coach will help you out with that, but you got to pull the trigger. You got to take action, because that's what separates the successful folks from those that aren't successful. It's the investors are more successful. It's because they pulled the trigger more often. Okay. They've gone out and made more mistakes because they've done more deals and they've overcome things. And I will tell you this right now. Don't be an educated idiot. Okay. We've all know those people that go to and attend to everything, but they never do anything. You don't want to be a brain surgeon who's never operated on a brain. Okay. Yes, it's good to be educated. Yes, it's good to understand some things, but pull the trigger. Not only 10% of people out there actually take action. You want to stand out from the crowd in 2022. And how do I know that? Well, because all the classes that we have taught over the years, and my friends that are all educators and investors out there, that's the number we come to. Somewhere between 5 and 10% of people actually do anything. And it comes down to, you got to set up marketing, you got to market, you got to reach out to them, and then you got to pull the trigger. Yep, we're going to proceed with this. Nope, I'm not. Okay. And you will learn more from doing your first deal than you will from any book, class, podcast. Why? Because yes, you'll learn exactly what goes into it and actually putting things into action. But guess what? You're actually going to build confidence in yourself because you're going through this. You're learning. There's nothing like hands-on training. Education, the classes you're taking and the coaching are your safety nets, but you actually pulling the trigger to make things happen is what's going to help you stand out for the most. And here's the thing. There is no perfect deal. I had a guy that was a coaching student, and he was like, he's going through a note coach. We have him do some things. He's market. Well, I don't want to do that deal. I'm like, this is a great deal. It's not perfect. It's not exactly where you need, what you want, but it's pretty damn close. Every 20, 30, 40, 50 grand count as far as I'm concerned. He's like, I'm not going to do that deal. I'm like, you know what? If you're not going to pull the trigger on this, I'm not going to waste my time. All right. Coaches want people to close deals most of the time, or good coach, that's stuff they should want. There's no perfect deal out there. If you're waiting for that perfect idyllic deal, it's probably not out there, but you can find a lot of deals out there that can become perfect once you get in the deal. And the perfect deal, as I say, is the perfect deal that closes. Okay. And like I said, you'll build confidence as you grow, taking action. You'll learn more, take action. You'll walk differently. You'll feel differently. And maybe even your spouses and family members will start treating you differently because you are walking a little bit different. You got a little pickup in your step. You got a little whistle while you work versus being a bah humbug. Okay. But that's one of the most things to do. You got to take action and go from there. So quick recap here. For tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it's not difficult. Number one, join your local RIA. Find a RIA group to start connecting with now. Don't wait. Go do it. If it costs you $20 to attend, attend it. If there's in-person, that's better than online. Okay. 2, get educated. Start learning different niches. Start learning what's working in your market. Start educating yourself. There's so many ways to get educated without having to cost anything. 3, find the niche. Pick something. Pick one thing and then give it 6 months. Give it, several months to dive into and start working to it. It takes a little while to build those training wheels to get rock and rolling. Okay. 4, make sure you're saving for the future. A little bit how start saving. Open up a self-directed IRA account to start investing in your future self. 5, start putting together a marketing plan if you got educated. Talk to people who are doing the things in your market or nature, who are doing what you want to do. Hey, what do I need to do to start attracting? Who do I need to talk to? And what's it going to cost me to start marketing? That's probably one of the number one questions that people don't ask is what's it going to cost me to find a deal? 6, start using your social. Start being more active. The more active you are, the more attention you get, especially these days. That's where everybody spends their time at. You've got to start using social on a regular basis. 7, protect your assets. Get an LLC. Talk to an attorney. Talk to the Laughlin Associates to set up an LLC to protect your assets. Because last thing you want to do is work so hard and something happened, you end up losing it all. Number 8 is get a coach. Get somebody who has your best interest in mind, who's been where you're at, is where you want to be, is willing to help share with you the journey and help you avoid the potholes and landmines along the way. A coach is going to be so much, is be exponentially valuable to you, way above and beyond whatever you end up paying them. Okay. Number 9, build your team. You can't do this thing alone. Those investors that try to do it all themselves, they struggle, they burn out, and they end up bombing. Okay, it's not a pretty sight to see when somebody just tries to do it all. Can't be a lone wolf in real estate and be successful. And number 10, pull the trigger, do a deal, take some action. You'll feel better, you'll feel confidence, and it'll propel you to sites unknown or unthought of before. When I see people closing their first deal, it's just an amazing thing to see those lights go off, that fireworks take off, and that energy just boosts a whole different level. So any questions, any comments, any concerns from you guys that are on here tonight, watching us or catching the replay? Did you have a thing that you thought would not be in the top 10 there, or something that you'd like to see added more? But pretty simple. Yes, if you're a seasoned investor, there's other things you would be doing this year. For some of these are very basic. I get that. The idea here is, ladies and gentlemen, start taking action, start making things happen, and you'll feel a whole lot better off. And look, Rome wasn't built in a day. You're going to build success in anything, any type of business, whether it's real estate or tiddlywinks or whatever it might be, one step at a time, one brick at a time. If you keep doing that, you will eventually build that golden brick road to your future self and your future success. And if there's no any other comments or concerns, or anybody want to say anything, I want to thank you for coming on here tonight. Once again, join us as the kickoff of the US REI network. And once again, encourage you to go to the usreinetwork.com website, join the Facebook group, the LinkedIn group, or the Mina group, whichever 3 floats your boat. Some all 3, some 1, some 2, whatever. We've got a great lineup scheduled for the next few weeks. We'll be working on those and getting that up on the website so you can see who's set to place. Otherwise, we'll see you here next Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Central. We'll have the replay be out tomorrow by probably by noon, 1 o'clock. So if you missed out, you'll be able to catch the replay as well. If you're watching the replay, hey, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being live here tonight. Go out, take some action, everybody, and we'll see you all